It was a warm Saturday afternoon when my best friend Ryan invited me over to his house. We hadn't seen each other in weeks, and I was excited to catch up. His family had always been nice to me, especially his mom, Mrs. Parker, who was friendly, funny, and always treated me like one of her own kids. When I arrived, Ryan wasn't home yet. He'd gone out to pick something up, but his mom welcomed me in and told me to make myself comfortable. I didn't think much of it at first, until the situation started to take a strange turn. Mrs. Parker offered me a drink and sat down next to me on the couch. She started asking questions, personal ones, about my love life, school, and even my opinions on relationships. I laughed awkwardly, trying to keep the conversation polite, but something about her tone made me uneasy. She kept inching closer, smiling in a way I'd never noticed before. I told her I'd just wait in Ryan's room until he got back, but she stopped me, saying, "You don't have to rush. We can talk a little more." Her voice was calm but had a strange warmth to it that made my heart race. Before I could answer, she began telling me how lonely she had been lately. She said Ryan's dad was always away for work, and she barely got any attention at home. I didn't know what to say. It felt wrong. But I could also sense the pain behind her words. Then she looked at me, her eyes glistening, and said, "You remind me of how he used to be when we first met." I froze. I didn't know if she was trying to compliment me or something else entirely. My hands felt sweaty, and my mind screamed for me to change the subject. Just as I opened my mouth to say something, she leaned closer, too close, and whispered, "You're such a good boy, you know that?" I jumped up, pretending to check my phone. I stammered something about Ryan texting me to meet him outside. She looked at me quietly for a second, then gave a soft laugh. "Relax," she said. "I didn't mean to scare you." I nodded awkwardly and headed for the door, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. When Ryan finally arrived, I tried to act normal. We hung out, played games, and talked like old times. But I couldn't stop thinking about what had just happened. Mrs. Parker peeked into the room once or twice, smiling as if nothing had happened. Every time she did, I felt an uneasy chill. I didn't tell Ryan. How could I? It felt like betraying both of them. Still, I knew things would never feel the same between us again. A few weeks later, Ryan called me, sounding upset. He said his parents were fighting constantly and that his dad had found out his mom had been talking to someone. I didn't ask who. My stomach dropped, and all I could think about was that afternoon. I felt guilty, even though I hadn't done anything wrong. But deep down, I knew that if I'd stayed even a few minutes longer that day, things might have gone in a direction I could never have forgiven myself for. After that, I stopped visiting Ryan's house. We're still friends, but something invisible stands between us. Something I can't explain without destroying everything. Sometimes when I pass by their street, I remember Mrs. Parker's sad eyes and the quiet tension in her voice. It's strange how a single afternoon can change the way you see people forever. I learned that day that not every story of cheating begins with love. Sometimes it begins with loneliness and ends with silence.